To begin the program this morning, as we do the launching of the books by Cornell Charles, ladies and gentlemen, we want to invite the Gros Primary School to open us with the singing of the national anthem.
Sons and daughters of St. Lucia, love the land that gave us birth, land of beaches, hills and valleys, fair and silent of all the earth. Wheresoever you may roam, love, oh love, our island home. Gone the times when nations battle for this land of the West. Gone the days when strife and discord dim the children's toil and rest. Dawns at last a brighter day stretches out a glad new way. May the good Lord bless our island, guard us sons from woe and harm. May our people live united, strong in soul and strong in arm. Justice, truth, and charity, our ideal forever be.
And as we are about to go into the proceedings here, we want to invoke the blessings from heaven. And at this time, we will ask Darwin Alexander to do a song for us entitled His Strength is Perfect.
It's a privilege that I am here chosen to do this song. I hope that it will bless you all and that you understand that God is always with us and His strength is perfect. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. But sometimes I wonder what He can do through me. No great success to show, no glory of my own, yet in my weakness He is there to let me know. His strength is perfect when our strength is gone. He'll carry us when we can't carry on. Raised in His power, the weak become strong. His strength is perfect. His strength is perfect. We can only know the power that He holds when we are truly see how deep our weakness goes. His strength in us begins when ours come to an end. He hears our humble cry and proves again. His strength is perfect when our strength is gone. He'll carry us when we can't carry on. Raised in His power, the weak become become strong. His strength is perfect. His strength is perfect. Raised in his power, the weak become strong. His strength is perfect. His strength is perfect. His strength is perfect. His strength is perfect.
Today I am deeply honored to welcome you to the launch of Mr. Cornell Charles' books, not one, but two, and maybe three. For many years, the public libraries have had a special place on their calendar of activities for local writers. But like all organizations, we must continue to reinvent ourselves. Therefore, we have dedicated Independence Week as our new celebration for local writers. This week, all public libraries are promoting local writers, including the Gros Branch Library. We are celebrating them, promoting them, and asking them to come in. Some are reluctant, like Mr. Charles, our new celebrated writer. I'm sure you must be saying, why the Gros Public Library for his launch? But Mr. Charles has been a friend for the public library for many years. He came, he gave, he delivered. You are a friend of the public library, Mr. Charles. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. And at this time, we are about to bring on my accompanying host, right, of the female gender, and she's about to do the biography of Cornell Charles. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Benjamin.
Someone is looking for something in the desert. But Mr. McDonald Dixon, he will tell us all about it.
JQ and Son, or Kushu and Son. Ladies, gentlemen, I don't like writing reviews. I'll tell you that quite frankly, because sometimes it sounds so boastful and judgmental of my contemporaries and my colleagues. I prefer to write reviews on authors long since dead and those that are not writing from my generation or I don't know them. So this is really, for me, a daunting task. But nevertheless, I have tried. In Pursuit of Running Water, a novel by Colonel Charles, which was first published by Author House in 2009 and republished by the author in 2013. The novel is written in the first person omnipresent, which for me is considered a daunting task as the narrator is expected to be everywhere at the same time. However, a story should always be retold with a sincerity of purpose, honest in tone, grammar, time, and place, without the author's voice intruding. This, if skillfully observed, lends to credibility. Having read both versions of the book, I prefer the first. This, of course, is a personal preference and has nothing to do with whether the first version is better than the second. I will attempt to explain this. In the first version, the narrative was basically present tense, making it difficult for the author to enter the page. The action happened as the scenes came to life. For comparison, here are two opening lines in chapter 2 of the first edition. No, here is an opening line from chapter 2 in the first edition, and also the same line in the second division. First edition. On Mont Cabrit, known as Goat Mountain to English gentry, Edison John rests his last batch of harvested ground provisions next to two bleating goats tethered beneath his hut. Then the second edition. On Mont Cabrit, known as Goat Mountain to English gentry, Edison John rested his last batch of harvested ground provisions next to two bleating goats that were tethered beneath the hut. In both versions of the text, there is that homely, almost folksy appeal in the voice of the narrator that creates an atmosphere of innocence among the inhabitants of the island. An innocence that might be as naive as Ralph's or Piggy's in Golding's Lord of the Flies, or in Marquez's No One Writes to the Colonel, who of course no one wrote to. However, I must pose the question, does the author remain outside the page in the second version? And this is for you who have read the book. I will not attempt, of course, to answer it. I leave this for you. We feel this in the character of Duval, the politician, where he appears imbued with an aura of distrust, yet seems to wear his credibility like a corporal's badge on his sleeves. Dilemma or not, it adds other dimensions to the character, removing it from the realm of two-dimensional prints. Jim Gallegos, an American frequent visitor to the island, sees an opportunity for investment on Mont Cabrit and proceeds to entice the small landowners, who are also farmers, to sell to him. He is aided in these pursuits by two locals wanting to make a fast buck on the deals. I am not here to relate the story. You can always purchase a copy of the book and read it for yourselves. However, I must tell you, the story unwinds fairly quickly, merging into several plots and subplots, some very innovative. There is very little time for suspense to unravel. Instead, the story weaves a spidery web around its plot and characters, building a tight cocoon of interdependence. While set on fictitious Butterfly Island, one cannot help observe the close resemblance to the writer's home island, St. Lucia, with light pastel hints of Dominica. The island is mountainous, with rivers that flood in the rainy season. The principal occupation of the local inhabitants is agriculture, with fledgling developments in tourism. The people are bilingual, and place names are both in English and in the native Creole. The capital town of Butterfly Island is Grand Riviere in the native patois, or Big River in English. Also is the location of the speculative investments of Jim Gallegos and his wife, Goat Mountain, or Mont Cabrit in Creole. I'm particularly enamored with the array of characters in the novel. They read like a who is who of small St. Lucian country life. They can be found even today in Saltibus, Grand Ravine, or dearly so, beginning with Jim Gallegos and his wife Betty, the exiled American trying to soak up the countryside in obscurity. Then there's the uncertified taxi cab driver Cosmos Richardson and his common law wife Clarissa. There is Collins Anderson, the proprietor of Bottom Hill Disco Bar, who got the attention of his patrons by repeatedly striking a bottle with an item of cutlery. Genteel persons like Edison and his wife Mariana, whose primal nobility is Rousseau-esque in its execution. The fraudsters like Michael Williams, alias Chiney, and a certain Leslie Vaval are embellished with a jeu de vie, making them plausible. Let us not discount the politician Peter Duval, whose guile is evident in not so many words. There are others too, like Scotty, some minor roles worthy of mention, but here I would prefer to focus on the interplay within the context of the story as it unfolds. The character of Corporal Albert Welch, whose appearance and sudden death in the middle of the book reminds me of Shakespeare's Falstaff or the porter in Macbeth, providing much needed comic relief at a time when the writing was likely beginning to sag. The marked absence of an upper middle class and a true middle class in the book has helped in fashioning an egalitarian existence which lends credibility to Edison's almost primitive majesty on his own ground. The games children played in rural communities in the past, customs and practices long since gone, are recalled by the author with some intrusion on an otherwise idyllic pastoral scenery. Mr. Charles' handling of dialogue sometimes loses its tour de force, particularly when it appears to be English battling with Creole. But this should not be the cause of great worry to him. The young Derek Walcott was also not immune to this